Everybody, welcome. X's and Knowles presented by Knowles 24/7. I'm Trey Rowland. I'm here with my bros, Kevin Little, Adam Brown. And guys, we're going to talk transfer portal. We're going to talk about some of the additions that Florida State got in the spring window. And then we're going to talk about not an addition, but a guy that kind of went away and came back, and Biscuit, Marcus, and Douglas, and what we think of that whole situation. Very odd, very interesting. But Florida State did get three, I guess you call it 3.5 transfers. We'll talk about the three full ones they got in the half Biscuit later. But the three that they got are Houston, cornerback Jeremiah Wilson, legitimately like one of the highest rated guys in the transfer portal. Really, really good get, especially if you guys watched our spring position kind of previews, like headline series. The secondary was a question mark for us, specifically at cornerback, and it looks like they addressed that need that they thought that they had themselves. Then you get a couple of guys, a couple of interesting names. I don't know how much of an impact either of these two are going to have, but we're going to talk about what they could have. In East Tennessee State, shout out Randy Sanders, quarterback Jaylen King, and then Rutgers, young offensive tackle, 6'5", 295, Jaylen Matthews from Toms River, New Jersey, has not played a snap of college football yet, but he is your right now lone offensive line transfer commit. Guys, they started off slow in the winter transfer portal, right? But then they rebounded nicely, particularly like on the offensive line. We like a lot of good quality takes there, and at receiver. You come in out of spring, you got some departures, some that you were planning for, some that you weren't planning for, and it seems like they were slow to react. And this feels like an off transfer portal session. Now, always the spring cycle is a little weird. The quality isn't as good. The demand's really high. The prices are exorbitant, but it's felt like an off period in the transfer portal for Mike and crew. Agree or disagree, fellas?
Yeah, I think to me it just feels like there's there's a lack of transparency with within the program on a level. They're not. I think the fact that people were not at practices means that there's less of a feeling on, are some of these departures things that were good things, were things that were making space for more room, or some of these bad things, or like how are these people performing, what is the vibes around the program? Just feels really kind of blind right now. And it means that depending on how you're feeling, depending on how you want to interpret these events, can really dramatically impact your feelings on the program itself and kind of the direction it's going. Are you going to be an optimist that says, getting Thomas Castellanos and Deuce Robinson and essentially a new offensive line from scratch, I'm going to believe in that process and what was happening back then, two coordinator hires that I think most people would agree were, at least B+ hires, or do I look at it and say, well, they were unable to really do anything with Hakeem Williams. That's a concern, these guys aren't necessarily the cream of the crop of the transfer portal in the spring. So there's a bunch of question marks right now around the program, and I don't know, it feels like everybody's kind of grasping for answers.
Yeah, and I like your point there, the speculation, because we're not there. We don't see like, is the forced departure of a Jaylen Brown, like, is it a big deal? I mean, in the offseason, we would have said, no, not really. Like, who cares? The kid had a bad year last year. Nobody really cares. But, I mean, you could only go by the actions in the transfer portal. As soon as he left, Florida State started sending out multiple offers to wide receivers. Like, it kind of looks like Florida State is looking for a wide receiver 3. So it's like, were they counting on Jaylen Brown to be that? Were they counting on Hakeem Williams to be that? We could only kind of go by what we as a network have heard from our multiple sources, but then also we have to kind of use the actions to infer just how big these losses may or may not be. Adam, what do you think about everything that's going on right now in this transfer portal cycle for FSU?
Yeah, I think it's just more of the same.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point we've got, I've long been a Mike Norvell supporter. I think that's fair to classify me in that regard. But we've gotten to the point now where we've got 5 years of data that are telling us who Mike Norvell is, and he's just not a guy that seems to place a ton of value in going above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to player acquisition.
No,
specifically in the high school regard, I would say high school recruiting has been down the list of significance for him, or down his to-do list. It just has not been a priority for him in his time here. It's not been something he's made his staff make a priority. And I think it's kind of rearing its ugly head now. The misses and the inability to close and not garnering enough elite talent to the point of segment we're going to kind of close on, that you essentially were held hostage by a below average tight end
who already left your program.
Who already left your program once and came back and then was going to leave your program high and dry at the very last second. So it, this is where we are in year 5, coming off of a 2-10 season. You don't exactly have a lot of mojo. You don't have a lot to sell as far as where your program's headed. We're excited about the coordinator hires and what we think they can be. But I don't know. This is 2 years in a row. You kind of started slow in the transfer portal. We've all kind of said, let's wait and see how it turns out. They salvaged the first one to some degree, but did they leave a little meat on the bone? Maybe. It's tough to say. But here we are here in the second one. We were talking off air. There's not a lot of great players in the transfer portal right now. And you're stuck trying to get these guys at way overpriced numbers because of the desperation nationally to get guys in here. And you're stuck trying to find a player or two that can help you for this upcoming season, in a season that may be make or break for your tenure at Florida State. And you're really at the bottom of the barrel. So, yeah, I'm not enthusiastic about it.
No, and I agree with you, man. It's like normally off season is the time for like hope and fun and speculation and what if. And this is an off season that Florida State fans are just trying to survive. This program is trying to survive this off season because the only thing that is going to get this program significant momentum is wins on the football field. Dude, August and September feels like it's way further away than it actually is. So let's go. Now, you did mention in the spring transfer portal, not a lot of like high quality players.
No, they did get one.
They did get one, and we're going to talk about it. Jeremiah Wilson from Houston, Adam. Have you got a chance to look at this guy's film? He's super highly rated across all sites. Really a lot of experience with Tony White. Tony White recruited him at Syracuse. Primarily like a zone corner. I think the only knock on him may be like not ideal height, but really, really good stats. I mean, what do you think Florida State's getting in this take? Like a legitimately, I would have been freaking out no matter what transfer portal cycle Florida State got this kid in. He's an instant starter, I think.
Yeah, he's number 20. I believe this is going to be him right here. When we talked about kind of needs and whatnot in a video a couple weeks ago, like one of the things that we discussed, and I know our coworkers, specifically on OTB, we're talking about it quite a bit, about the need for a defensive back specifically. And I think we all kind of came to the agreement that not only did they need a defensive back, but they specifically needed one who had zone experience, a guy that was going to be comfortable playing zone corner, had experience in it, was able to do it, had those dependable eyes. As you transition a guy like Quindarius Jones away from a heavy man system into more of a zone system, there's going to be bumps in the road along the way for him in his development, as he's one of those really aggressive type players. Wilson is a guy who's very steady. He's very patient. He's physical, will come up and run and attack the run game, but he just kind of understands. You can just kind of see where his eyes are at and how patient and how disciplined he is.
Mm-hmm.
See him there, just kind of fitting his system, fitting in where he belongs.
I mean, that's a more impressive play than I think you might want to give it credit for. It looks like they're in some sort of cover 4, cover 3. He's got a deep third. He's got a deep quarter, and he comes up and he makes this play in the flats within 2 to 3 yards from the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's a win for the defense. And as an offensive coordinator, you're thinking, I can get ISO my guy quick out to the flats one-on-one against a deep third defender. That's a win for me, but he's able to limit it because, like AB said, he's got good eyes.
Yeah, I think one of the things it's like, specifically with being a zone defender, like you need to have trust that the guys around you are going to be doing your job, so he doesn't play hero ball there. He does his job. And that goes back to some of that discipline, something that this team lacked quite a bit last year.
It's an older player, veteran, tons of experience. Like you said, Adam, good eyes, solid, sure tackling. Like, he's going to do his job every play, and getting that kind of consistency is massive. And I don't think it's underrated.
And I think in a room that's got a lot of really young guys, I think it's a good thing to bring in a vet presence like this young man.
That's familiar with the system too.
Familiar with the system, but maybe it can come in and be a little bit of a leader in that room for them and kind of help some of those guys mature and grow up a little bit and help with their development. Mike's talked quite a bit about wanting to be a player-led team. You go out and get a guy the age of Jeremiah Wilson, and you hope that he can be kind of one of those player leaders for you in that room and help a Kai Bates, who he's a buddy. No. Was he buddies with Kai Bates? I can't remember. I think he's the one that works out with Kai Bates in the offseason, but can help a Kai Bates, can help a Charles Lester, help those guys kind of understand, okay, what the ins and outs of college football look like and what their day-to-day needs to look like to be the best that they can be as players.
Kev looks like he's very comfortable playing off the receiver with a big cushion, playing in space. That's, Florida State's corners known for being physical, lengthy. Like this is quite a different look from what they've got on what they've been recruiting for the past 5 years.
Yeah, I mean he's a different body type for sure. He's actually they've run cover 2 twice in the past couple plays, he's played both the flats and the deep half. But he's a different mold. He's a different player. That's good and bad, right? Usually these smaller guys move better in space. They might, have that quick twitch that's kind of useful for coming up and making plays in the box and stuff. But I think what's important is that he's got the maturity, he's got the experience running these things. Like AB was saying, I personally think there's a ton of talent in that cornerback room. I think you can turn a Kai Bates into someone who's a productive zone corner. I don't think that's an issue, but it's a different mindset. It's a different place that you have to be patient. You have to be trusting. You have to do your job. And when you're in a man coverage scheme, that's not necessarily something you have to focus on. You follow your man, You wouldn't leave your man unless you have to, right. I mean, I guess you don't have to, right? In a zone, you have to leave people, right? If someone leaves your area, you have to trust that someone else is going to pick them up. That's not something you necessarily have to do in man.
Yeah, it'll be nice because you have that presence at the second level with a guy like a Stephon Thompson, but you have it with this guy here, except in a more talented package.
But I think this is why you're seeing him graded so high. Not necessarily. I mean, they haven't really thrown at him, but I mean, we've already seen a couple of times. This is a very hard play to make. They have a one-on-one block on the outside. He's able to make that guy miss and limit this play that could be a touchdown if he doesn't make it to 2 yards, right? If you pause it here, if he gets blocked,
it's gone.
If he gets blocked, that's a touchdown, and he limits it to 2 to 3 plays. That's a special play, even though, to a casual viewer, look, if Zero makes this block here, I mean, no one's making that tackle.
Yeah, that's huge. And this is an area where even when Florida State had better teams, they were getting picked on consistently in like run fits in the secondary, right, guys?
AZ, Fentrell Cypress.
Yeah, I mean, basically Cypress against Duke 2 years ago. I mean, it was a massive issue for him.
It was a very common strategy against Florida State over the past couple of years. Essentially, you make a very unbalanced set, force a backside quarterback corner into the run fits, and take advantage of that because they knew that those guys weren't going to make the tackle. So You can essentially put this guy as your boundary corner and trust that he's going to be making the tackle. That eliminates that strategy.
I think he came out.
What do you guys think of the athleticism? The movement looks pretty good to me when he's like decisive and like flips and hips and goes. Like he gets to the ball carrier, the receiver, pretty quick. And do you guys like what you're seeing from an athleticism standpoint?
He's really smooth. I mean, his hips look nice and loose. His feet are really light. You can just kind of see him. His shuffle's really easy. You don't see him popping up when he's in his pedal.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, and I think that's less of a focus in this kind of scheme. You know, he's going to stay over the top of the guy, and he's going to be able to come down and make tackles and be a smart player. But like, it's going to protect him a little bit from just being out athleted, right? He doesn't have to chase someone across the field.
And
they go after him here, I think.
Let's see what happens.
No. He does.
But see, that's awareness, right?
Yeah. Yep. He's got really good eyes. He reads quarterback really well. I don't know what that
It's called a
is.
penalty. I was going to say that's a good play. I mean,
I wonder if it was legal touching.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hat though, but I don't know. It's not important.
So where's he at? Top of the screen right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, they're going at him again.
Yeah. He's good at shedding contact and blocks for being a smaller guy. Well, not whatever, 5'10", but like he's very good. Like nobody can get a clear shot on him from a blocking standpoint.
Yeah, and he does a good job of leveraging the ball. Like he's gonna make that thing go back inside.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that like if you're watching this as just kind of a casual viewer, there's nothing that's going to stand out about him. Like he's not someone that you would think is going to fly up draft boards, but he's someone who you'd love to have on a college football team.
Yeah, he's a good college football player. He's a guy that's going to do his job. He's going to do it right. He's going to help you eliminate. He's going to help you eliminate explosive.
Man, that's great right there.
Yeah, he's going to be where he's supposed to be. Like, how many times have we seen a guy go underneath of this thing and get to the sideline and you give up 10 or 12 yards or whatever?
100 million times last year, and
you've given up an explosive play. And
can you go back?
Yeah, that was a great play. Just the way he's bobbing in and out to make sure
the end zone or
the end zone's fine. So what he does is he sets up this blocker. He pinches inside, and then keeps outside leverage. So instead of just running straight to the sideline to keep outside leverage, he actually pinches inside to begin with, and that kind of closes down the gap there. It's just a little thing,
play.
Right?
That's a really solid play. And like you said, it's not something that's going to jump out at a broadcast. It's not a one-handed pick. It's not that. But, dude, you got a guy who does that all game long.
Oh, they finally threw at him.
Batted down at the line.
I might have picked a bad game.
I don't particularly think so.
Well, I just mean from a passing standpoint, Kansas State wasn't exactly known for their.
Yeah, but I think we're seeing some valuable things about how he deals with the run game. I mean, that's definitely been a weakness for Florida State.
I just like to see how disciplined he is. I mean, they lacked that last year big time.
Well, they ran like one coverage and they couldn't freaking switch last year. So
yeah, man, that's another nice part about it being an older guy and having years in systems. Like he is going to be able to do a couple different things because they're going to run a couple different coverages this year. It's not just going to be one stock man match cover 4. Like it's going to be, they're going to run some cover 2. They're going to run some cover 3. They're going to do a few more things.
Man, he's way out there.
But he's going to be able to line up and do that. Look at them eyes, man. He is all about reading that quarterback. He is reading that triangle. You got the heck up out of there.
Yeah, it's a cover 2.
Yeah.
Drop into a deep half. I mean, they trust him to be a deep half corner, which is kind of cool.
He's smooth, man. Just smooth operator, this kid.
Well, it's like those center fielders that aren't the fastest guys, but because they can read the ball off the bat.
Yes,
they're
great
there
eyes.
The ball's there.
100% positioning, man. Positioning can help out with if you're not the quickest dude. I'm not saying that he's not, but like it's just it's such an.
It makes you faster.
100%. Yeah, it's like field speed.
I would definitely describe him as quicker than fast. I mean,
yeah. Any concern? And we talked about this with Tony White's defenses before. Really good at shutting down the run. Really good at killing the intermediate pass game. Were susceptible to the explosives last year, particularly. Is that something you guys are worried about with the size and maybe the long speed stuff, or no, not really?
Nah.
I mean, it does come with the territory, right? Like, yeah, if there's a 6'6" receiver that you can get downfield against this guy, he probably has a better chance of making the
he's on the blitz.
Yeah,
making the catch than on a taller defender, But I think you take it because he's erased some.
Yeah.
It's kind of just being nitpicky. There's no such thing as a perfect player either, but like this kid can do a ton of stuff. He does his job. He does the stuff that we really got on Florida State's defense over the years about like making the hard play, fighting through contact, like not taking the easy route of going around a guy when you need to go through a guy. He doesn't do that, man. He plays with really good technique, and he knows his job on every single play, and he does it, and he finds a way to do it.
It's a coverage rep, right? So he does a good job stacking. He does a good job of.
Yeah, he's physical. Like, he's not soft. He's going to be physical in routes. It's a bigger guy he's going against, it looks like.
Yeah.
He's able to turn his hips really quickly after kind of getting the route run into him.
I don't know what happened there. No, it's the end zone view. All right, we want to watch one more here, and then we can.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think we've got the picture, and I like it, man. Great take, and exactly what the secondary needed.
Of course, it goes nowhere near him.
Whatever. To me, you take a look at the PFF, like the coverage stuff. We knew he was a good zone corner. We knew the coverage was there. I like seeing the run fit stuff because, God, it's been a deficiency even when FSU was good. So I'm glad that the game turned out the way that it did. And Florida State's going to be facing a lot of run-heavy teams this year, man. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of teams that want to just beat you into the ground. And Tony White's defense is only going to work at FSU if they can stop the run. And they need guys like that in the secondary. And awesome take. Now let's talk about some ones that aren't so surefire. We don't even know how much these guys are going to play this year, but it's interesting. Depth pieces. The first one, Jaylen King from East Tennessee State. He played for him for 2 years, 1,500 yards last year, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Seems to be a pretty good athlete. I guess this is what Kev, what do you think that he's the Trevor Jackson backup. He's the depth piece. Yeah. Maybe given this is the buffer for like Kevin Sperry. So like if something happens to Castellanos, and Brock Glenn, who knows, dude? Like Florida State went through a couple quarterbacks last year. It's like you don't have to play Kevin Sperry as a true freshman, right?
Yeah, I think you're just trying to build up that room. You're trying to put, Gus wants guys that can run, and you get someone who can kind of give that to you in a pinch. If you look at UCF's offense, they went through about 18 quarterbacks last year, couldn't settle on one, and so it seems like they want to be prepared in case that happens again this year.
Adam, do you think there's any possibility? Number one, have you seen this kid's film? Number two, if you have, is there any possibility of this kid getting, like, let's just say, God forbid, Castellanos gets hurt? Do you think that there's a chance? Obviously, Glenn would be the starter, but that they would have special packages built for this kid, or is that even too much of a pipe dream for like a prospect of this level?
No, I think you would probably have to. But got a buddy who works at North Dakota State who they evaluated him. Obviously, they played him, and he said is a good runner. Like they evaluating him as a runner, like he's a threat. He's a legitimate threat with his legs. Mm-hmm. The passing just really lags way behind, and I think we're going to see that when we turn the tape on here. But if you're evaluating if colleges, a college like North Dakota State, it's a lower level, but they're
a powerhouse of that level.
They're a powerhouse, exactly, and they evaluated him as a pretty good runner. There's something there as far as juice in his legs. So you would want to try to get that out of him if you lost your starter in Thomas Castellanos. And while Brock's been a guy who's athletic, I think you would want to try to find ways to get more out of your offense in certain packages with a guy who can be a little more explosive as a runner and at least give you the threat of throwing the football every once in a while.
Well said. Let's see what we got here.
Doomsday scenario.
Very, very bleak. Sorry for even putting it out there.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Nice shadowing on the field. We like that camera work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is not all 22. Not a lot of East Tennessee State all 22 floating around out there.
What a shame. But look, okay.
I do think he was
good
down
start.
there, but
yeah.
I mean, he saw an opening, took off. You just kind of see. I think that throwing the RPO there on the wrong shoulder and
accuracy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's if that's just a screen throw, but he has a kind of low release.
That's not bad. It's not bad actually.
Good size,
Just
6'3", 210 is what the size is.
The ball's so hard to tell with a shadow, like in this angle. The mechanically looks a little wonky.
Yeah, it might be a screen throw. Sometimes they change up their mechanics that get the ball out fast. So
yeah, man, that's an RPO.
And his stats for this game, I think he was like passing 6 of 15 for 113.
This is what he gives you, though. I mean, this is why I said, I think you'd want to try to find a way to. He looks pretty quick.
But conversely, 13 rushes for about 79 yards. So
yeah,
against a really, really good lower.
They're just running power read. They're just running power read here, and
yep. Sees that defensive end come upfield.
Yep, he goes
takes the vacated spot.
Yep. Guard pulls for him. He looks explosive as a runner. So, I mean, I think that, and look, Gus is new here. We know what Gus wants to do with the quarterback. He wants to be able to have a weapon there. Like, I think there's some sense to be made of the decision to bring this kid in. You redshirt him, you let him sit on your let him be your practice squad guy, let him develop a little bit, see if maybe he can find something as a thrower. Find some development in your program for you this year. But you got a kid that at least has a threat with his legs, and you don't have any of those guys in your quarterback room right now.
I think go back and show the last two plays.
Yeah.
Something that is not appreciated is when he hands these balls off, he has 2 or 3 guys around him that aren't around the running back. So right there, it's something.
Yeah, 3 guys take him here. This inside backer, D tackle,
and you saw what happened to the running game. Like when you don't have a running threat at quarterback and you try to run some of those plays like Florida State did last year, DG Uiagalelei, your running backs just get smoked. You better
be able to throw the football.
Yeah, couldn't do that. It's interesting, and like I said, Adam, I think it's a good point. It's a good, in case something bad does happen, it's a good guy to bolster depth, do everything like that. With the caveat, as long as you're not like using this roster spot for like a need, if you're not holding yourself kind of really hard and fast to that 105, which based off the press conference today, I don't know that Florida State will. Obviously, we can check back and see later. But, yeah, as long as you're not hamstringing yourself and this guy's not taking up a spot that you need at another position, I think it makes sense, right?
Mike Norvell loves him a rule too much to.
I know, man. We just got to get a little grimy. Just who cares? Just sue him. Like, who cares, dude? Who cares about the rules?
Just stirring the pot. Just stirring the pot.
Cares about the rules. All right, stirring the pot here. Big, long throw.
He's got a big enough arm. I mean, that's not it's kind of off the back foot and
dude in his face.
Yeah, I have a feeling maybe some of these throwing stats are skewed negatively just because he's probably doing this a lot.
I mean, that helps.
They probably just
wouldn't have made that catch, but
yeah, it's not a great throw. You're hoping that you can get guys open because the run game is a threat.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got the idea with this guy. Do we have now do you guys want to watch a little bit more? Do you want to move to the Rutgers tackle? Do you want to get?
I want to see if they use him on the goal line. No. Nope.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, they brought in a different quarterback. What the heck?
To run the T.
That's weird.
Jeez. Wow. All right.
Funky. All right. Jaylen Matthews. He was a freshman last year. He has not played any snaps. Huge, though. 6'5", 300 pounds from Toms River, New Jersey. Shout out Frankie Edgar. We don't have any college snaps to look at. What is Florida? Why did Florida? Adam, why do you think Florida State took this guy? Do you we're going to watch the high school film. When do you think he can?
I mean, he was really highly rated coming out of Toms River, like a pretty well rated recruit. For
three star, like 86, 87.
Pretty highly rated ranked in the
for the state of New Jersey.
For the state of New Jersey. I mean, there's a boatload of talent when you turn the film on. I guess some of the issue is maybe his personality or his attitude about.
I didn't know that.
Oh, there was some chatter on the message board today, or Rutgers. I don't know, maybe some of the Rutgers mods from their 24/7 site have expressed some concerns about where his head's kind of at. So who knows? Again, just chatter on from the Rutgers side about these things. I'm sure that will all come to light at some point.
That raucous Rutgers message board scene.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, it's out there. You got to at least give it some credence. I mean, those guys cover that program and know what they're talking about. So, you've talked all off season about fixing the culture and all those things, and getting back to ball and the climb, and
it ain't something that I give those guys the benefit of the doubt anymore. So I'm with you, man. If it's out there, I'm going to take account of it. But let's take a look at the film and just kind of see. Like you said, there is talent there. I tell you, big dude, very big dude,
huge. And you see him here. They're running some inside zone. He's a people mover. He kind of fits her band. I mean, we've seen Herb likes these big, tall, physical offensive tackles.
Kev, can you see the film?
I can't.
Okay, neither could I.
Did I not share?
Waxing poetic over here.
No, but it was kind of good. Wow. I liked you going acapella.
I would watch a YouTube channel of just Coach AB talking about film without the film playing.
That was a test to see if you could do it, and my goodness, you passed because I was enthralled. Kev, you're so polite. Why do you make me be the guy that's saying the film wasn't out there?
I thought he was pulling it up as he was.
Well, I like to watch it on the bigger screen with when I've got it.
This is a large and in charge guy right here. What do you think for that pass set?
Well, yeah, that was an interesting first clip to choose. I don't know. Usually they choose like pancaking.
This one's a good one. Trail like this one.
Oh yeah. Push him, brother. Push him.
Yeah, what's that double team?
Like the arrows. Thank you.
Dude, look at these splits. This is an air raid, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you didn't know they ran the air raid up here.
Oh, now you've perked up Kev.
Yeah.
Now Kev's awake again.
You're a nerd when you can just look at an offensive line and know they run the air raid.
I mean, he's big. He gets off the ball well. He really plays with good leverage. Like, I'm a little surprised he was only rated a 3-star.
What do you think of the quickness?
I don't think he's the quickest, most fleet of foot dude, but I don't think it's an issue. Like, I think he can clearly play tackle for you.
Mm-hmm.
He looks comfortable in a pass set. Yeah.
He looks patient too. Like he kind of trusts that he's going to be okay. Like we just got done watching Jeremiah Byers be in a hurry all the time. Like this.
Yeah. Can you go back 2 clips? Or not like 2 clips, but the clip before this.
Jeez, Kev.
It shows the patience.
I already had to turn it on for you. Now I got to go back 2 clips. This one.
Yeah. You can see the patience perfectly because the defender kind of pulls away that spin move and he doesn't buy it. He doesn't put his hands up until he sees the defender commit to the rush. So
he doesn't set too vertically. He doesn't set too shallow. Like he's just he's in a good spot. His hands are ready. He doesn't fall for this spin move.
No, the kid he's going against has decent size too, right?
He's got good knee bend. He's got his feet in the ground. He's got good knee bend, so he's in good position. Again, he plays with really good leverage, and he just kind of gives him a pop there with the outside hand, gets himself back in control, then gets the inside hand in there too, and just really kind of owns him.
So you said you're kind of surprised with the ratings, Adam? You think we got a little northeastern bias going on up here? Like if this was a kid from Georgia, you think he'd be rated higher?
Yeah, maybe potentially. They hate us up here in the Northeast. We can't get any ratings love up here.
Is Delaware? Are you guys mid-Atlantic or are you Northeast? I'm not.
We're wherever the hell we want to be. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Let them Delaware nuts hang. All right. Oh, he's a head knocker. Look at this guy.
Yeah, Tom Driver's not too far from me.
How big is he? What's his height weight listed?
On the website, I think he's like around 6'5", 300. This highlight video says 6'7", 325. I don't know. 6'6".
I like this one. Watch him.
Yeah, he's very patient. He's very comfortable in a pass set.
Yeah, he doesn't fall for the inside move.
Do you like the take? Obviously, you like the talent of the take, but do you like the take knowing that Florida State needs like a swing tackle, somebody that can be called upon duty with an injury in 2025?
Linemen, all right. Florida State needs offensive linemen.
Can't be picky.
He's a defensive lineman, clearly.
I mean, assuming everything checks out okay with him, with whatever the stuff was at Rutgers, like assuming all that checks out okay, and he comes here and is a good football player and a good teammate and a good, does what he's supposed to do. Yeah. Like, I'm really good with the take.
Okay, cool. You think he could maybe play this year if he needed to?
No.
I think. I mean, you see it.
And you don't want him to. I mean,
no, exactly. You don't. I agree.
He needs a couple years in the weight room. I think technically he's more proficient than a lot of guys they've pulled in the past few years, which might not be saying much, but he needs some strength. He needs some strength work.
All right. Well, I like it. If Adam likes it, I like it because you're my guy. And yeah, dude, solid tape. But the patience, that's what I like. The patience is like an ingrained skill, man. Because you see guys you see older guys, if they hurry young, sometimes they hurry. Yeah, it's like an innate skill.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to the Biscuit thing. So Florida State, you get Biscuit. He leaves, he goes to Arizona State. He comes back, the triumphant return. We get to use his nickname again. Adam's cat is super happy in the background. Yay, Biscuit's back. We're having fun. He puts his name into the transfer portal, and he gets to come back. And there's been opinions on that. And for a team where, like we say, we're trying to get the culture right, things of that nature. This is a team, Florida State, historically under Mike Norvell's tenure, where games have been guys on your current roster have gotten to play some games with you in the transfer portal, in and out, hot potato, hokey pokey, all that. And the results haven't been great. And this kid comes back. Guys, I guess number one, I'll start with you, Kev. What do you think about the situation? And then number two, talk about, I guess, how important is it? Because you could tell when the Florida State fought to get this kid back. Why did they fight so hard? Why is it so important to have an inline blocking tight end in this offense that historically, and we'll talk about the numbers, Biscuit's got good PR because we've talked about it on the show for years. He's not really that good of a blocker, guys. I know he's a big dude and he looks like he should be good at blocking, but we watched the tape. We've seen the numbers. It's marginal at best. Kev, what do you think? First, then we get to Adam.
Yeah, so they use an inline guy they kind of go two tight ends about 25% of the time, and I kind of have two clips back to back of how they like to use that second tight end, that kind of blocking tight end.
And by you mean like UCF and Malzahn.
UCF, Gus Malzahn. So this is Pittman. This is kind of your primary tight end. This guy's going to be in almost all of your snaps, and then this is your inline tight end up here. So they kind of like this double tight end set. They do it every once in a while. It gets this safety up in this run fit, which may or may not be something
I'm gonna guess they like it against an odd front.
Right. Because it kind of gives you leverage here. Mm-hmm. So you're looking for this. You're looking for him to kind of be able to get up on a linebacker, be able to go one-on-one with the defensive end. Just do enough to kind of slow him down. Another way they'll use him is he's actually up here. So here he is kind of in a stacked look, and you're really saying, well, now this corner is going to have to be able to shed a block, right? I'm going to put a good blocking guy out here, throw a quick screen here, and hopefully he can make this guy miss in space and we score a touchdown, right? So you kind of flank with two tight ends. It kind of gives mismatches on either side of like, how are your corners going to line up? Which safety is the better tackler? So that's kind of why they would use a second tight end. This guy's usually going to be used for blocking. He was the guy that's the Biscuit role, kind of was in for 80% of the plays he was in were running plays. So
and he had about 200 snaps a year, right?
Yeah, so he had about 200 snaps out of their 800 and something odd snaps.
So we're talking about FSU fighting for, a guy who's going to play like 25% of the time, run blocking specialist, nothing special from like a number standpoint, but he will be used and they will use him. And Florida State did not have a body type like his in that tight end room. And I think the reason why they found themselves in that situation is probably something Adam wants to talk about, because it's what we talked about in some of this other stuff. It was the culmination of some substandard years of player acquisition at certain levels of the roster. Adam, what do you think of the situation? And I mean, I guess the importance of a guy who's going to play 200 snaps for you, this is from the beginning of the conversation. It kind of makes a nice like bow, a nice circle. We can only judge by how important we think like that these guys are going to be to the team based on the actions of Florida State. And when this kid put his name in the transfer portal, it wasn't, all right, dude, fool me once, fool me twice. It was, no, we need this kid back desperately. So
yeah,
they expect him to be an important part of the team, whatever you think of the talent.
Yeah, they expect everybody to be an important part of the team. Their opinion of importance is, I don't know. It seems to be kind of all over the place at times, and I don't always understand it. And that's not for me to understand. I mean, they're the ones running the football program. And I think it's probably unfair to be critical of that. So I'm just going to move away from that.
Mm-hmm.
What were his grades again as a run blocker?
This is Markinson.
Yeah, Biscuit.
Yeah, Kev, you have those up, like his grades as a run blocker.
So, as a run blocker, he's kind of always graded as a low 50s guy,
which is below average.
It's about what they were getting out of Evan Morris out of UCF, who I just showed you last year. So maybe they feel like, it's not that important to be great.
Because the scheme is so awesome, you don't have to be that good to fill this.
I mean, you saw in the first clip, right? He just had to get in the way, But
well, I don't know. I have a hard time in my head. The big thing this year was you weren't going to be held hostage by your players. You weren't going to play the renegotiating game. And look, there's going to be circumstances that arise in situations that we're not privy to the information behind the scenes of all of them. Like, we can be honest about that. But from all accounts, Biscuit left last year, went to Arizona State. It didn't work out there. He came back. You brought him back.
Got him in shape.
Yeah, got in shape. And then last second, like literally the last day, last hours that he could enter his name into the portal, he just decides he's going to go. And he's going to go potentially to UNC. I don't know if maybe there was some stuff going on there, obviously, but he's going to go to UNC. And then you beg him. And I mean, I think that it's fair to say beg him, like you renegotiate with him to get him back here, because you desperately need your fourth tight end to play 200 snaps and be in a below average blocker. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand. All right. Josh Farmer renegotiated 3 or 4 times last year. The risk reward of renegotiating with Josh Farmer, who just got drafted in the NFL draft and was your best defensive tackle, I can get behind that a little bit. Like, I can say, okay, I can see the rationale. I can't see the rationale with doing this a year after you had such a mess, when you have said that you didn't want to play those games this year, what the hell are we doing? Like, what? And okay, you feel like you need a fourth tight end, like, and there's nothing out there in the portal. I think they maybe talked to a Tennessee kid. Like,
There's an Ole Miss kid. Yeah.
In fairness, there is nothing out there as far as tight end. I get that. All right. I mean, can't you just play a little more 11? Like, you desperately needed this. You needed it that bad that you had to kind of that last second. Like, this is the last shot of the portal, the last thing that everybody's going to remember you by, and it's going to be given a below average blocker who already left you once and was going to leave you high and dry the last second. And it's your fourth tight end. Like, I don't know, man. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And again, we're not privy to all the information.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was really clean and very transparent, and maybe he took less money to return.
Maybe you taught him a lesson. Who knows?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that. Just knowing how those things kind of work. But yeah, I just think it's I just don't think it's the risk reward on it when you're talking about, again, a guy that's already left you once, come back and leave you high and dry at the very last second, who's going to be your fourth tight end, your backup inline blocker, who's going to play 200 snaps, maybe 200 snaps, because you've got another kid in front of him already in Landon Thomas. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I don't think he's guaranteed to play 200 snaps this year.
At best, 200 snaps.
Yeah, at best 200 snaps. To have to do this renegotiating game with him, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I think the thing that sucks about it is that that if the Florida State, like if the program was in a different spot, he would not have, like, you would not be doing this. You would not be entertaining this. And you ideally want to have, as a coach, it's all about process, consistency of process. Then you get the results. And dude, if you're changing your mantra, if you're making contradictory statements, if you're saying one thing and doing another, it just permeates through everything. It's not a major thing. Who knows if we'll ever talk about it? Who knows if it will have any impact this year? But it's just kind of one of those things with, like, the media access thing. And it's just something that I'm going to note. That I'm going to note, man, because it's a sign that your program isn't operating at where you want it to be in year 5. Then that's a fact. But how big will it be?
I love Biscuit. I'm happy he's staying. Like, hey, I get to talk about Biscuit. I mean, he's been a guy that I've rooted for since he came here. Like, I'm cool with it, but
10 out of 10 nickname, sick nickname. He still has the butt catch to his name. Can't ever take that away from him. Like, who knows? A couple more butt catches this year, 200 snaps to run block, and we'll see what's going on. Anyway, and you guys will see what's going on our next video. As always, go to Noles247.com. Transfer portal still open. Florida State's still hosting visitors. We're probably gonna have another one of these videos, talk about some of the additions that they have. Off seasons here, fast and furious. We're going to kind of go into the deep dive of all the different. We still got a lot of different interesting scheme stuff to go into. And you guys get in the comment section. If there's anything you want us to cover in the off season, it's always your time, but the off season is particularly your time. Any suggestions are welcome. We like to make content that you guys want to see. So go ahead, give us a shout, give us a suggestion.
It's not even June yet. Oh.
It's not even June yet. It's actually we're recording and it's not even May. Like I said earlier, we're just going to survive this off season. We love you guys. We hope you're thriving, and we hope that you keep chopping. See you in the next video.